Hey, this is going to be a quick husbandry video for my Poecilotheria hanumavilasumica, or Rameshwaram ornamental, I believe is the common name of them. What first attracted me to these guys, obviously I love pokies. I believe I have 9 or 10 species of pokies now. I lost count the other day when I was counting them up. I think I'm up to 10. But what I love about this one is this is actually one that's critically endangered in the wild. Now, before people start jumping up and saying, all right, why do I have an endangered spider? Just know they come from a very small area that they think their actual habitat is under 10 kilometers, most likely around 6 kilometers or so, square kilometers. And they come from Rameshwaram Island. And on this island, apparently, the vegetation has been mostly cleared out, so their habitat is dwindling quickly because, of course, man. And there's even a story of a large group that was completely decimated when the government went in and raised land and burnt all the trees to basically make way for some government housing. So the future for these guys does not look good. Some species were taken out of the country for breeding purposes, and they've made their way into the hobby, which personally I think is fantastic. I mean, this is an animal right now that in 20 years or so may only exist in hobbyist collections. And while that's very, very sad, it kind of when you collect spiders, it kind of gives you a different perspective on the fact that some of these animals that you'll have someday might only exist in your collection or in people's collections. So that's some really cool stuff. I bought these two as slings. They're about an inch long. I originally kept them, I'll show you in the enclosure over here, but in one of the 32-ounce deli cups for a little while. They did very, very well in there, outgrew the deli cups, and then they went into one of these Sterilite containers, which I actually found some more of these on Amazon, thank gosh, because I gotta get some more. But it was an arboreal setup. What you can't see in there, actually you can kind of see it. There she is, right there. She just molted, and you can see the cork bark going up to the side. They did spend the majority of their time, when I first put them in here, dug in the bottom. That's something to remember with some of the Poecilotheria species, and a lot of people freak out about it. Or a lot of the arboreal species, quite frankly, will start out terrestrial. And many of them will actually burrow. And these guys, when I originally had them in the 32-ounce containers, they burrowed extensively. Never saw them very much. One of them did pick a spot where I could see it, but they pretty much stayed hidden all the time. And then once they got up to around 3 inches or so, they started hanging out in the open. So I'm just going to open this up so we can get a little glimpse of her. Put the light on. Hopefully, there she is. And that's her old moat, which I will hopefully be getting out of there in a moment because I want to sex it. I do believe this one's a female. The lady parts look pretty obvious. But just in case I want to get the molt out, I always try to double check. There she is. She's got some crickets in there, so if she bolts, it means she's probably eating. These guys eat very, very well. All my Poecilotheria species honestly eat very well, with the exception of Metallica is a little more finicky than some of them. This one will eat 2 large crickets in a sitting, no problem. I usually feed them once a week or so. The growth rate was pretty fast. I got them, I think, about a year and a half ago. I'll double check and put it in the comments as usual. And in that amount of time, they went from the inch-long slings, inch and a quarter. I think they might have actually just been inch. I remember them being much smaller than I was expecting. To this one now is probably right around 5.5 inches or so. So again, the Poecilotheria hanumavilasumica is the name of the species. I've been practicing that one for quite some time. It reminds me of Guangxiensis as far as difficult ones to pronounce. Beautiful species, and unfortunately, not one that probably won't exist in the wild for very much longer. I just, before shooting this video, went up to double check and see if anything had changed, and one of the reports I read said that area is even more barren of trees and wildlife than it was before. I guess they have taken to living in the homes with thatch roofs. Who knows if this is a species that will be able to coexist with man eventually and maybe be able to reproduce and flourish in that new type of environment, urban environment, but it's not sounding too good. So I'll just open this up one more time so you get a better look. Turn the light on. Gorgeous, gorgeous species. And she will be getting a rehousing. I will likely do a rehousing video as well because she's going to be going into one of the larger enclosures like those up there pretty soon. She'll have a nice big new home to hang out, live, and flourish here. So, Poecilotheria hanumavilasumica, the Rameshwaram, ornamental spider. A little tongue twisted there. Those names are just brutal. All right, this is going to be a fun one. We're going to rehouse my Poecilotheria hanumavilasumica, yeah, that's it. This one's quite flighty. It just molted about 5 days ago, so it's hardened up enough. It's eaten already, but it's definitely outgrown its old enclosure. So what I'm going to do here is try to coax it out gently. If at any point it starts to race around the container or go nuts, what I'll do is close the container back up with the stuff out of it, come back later on. Because once these guys start bolting, they're a mess to try to work with. So the best trick is to catch them before they go nuts. Let's see what we got here. And of course he's I wedged this thing in here, didn't I? Point down, or it's pointing down? No, it's pointing up. All right. Actually, what I probably could have gotten away with is just transplanting this whole thing in here. All right, there we go. Get that out of the way. And hold on, I'm gonna try to get some of this stuff out of the way here. I can usually get, oh, yeah, see, I got a little kinky with this one. When I transplanted these, just know that the Poecilotheria species, when they're younger, will burrow and will hide. They don't go arboreal until they get a bit larger. So what I did for this one, what I've done for some of them, is I put in a hide on the ground, and then I put in a piece of slab of cork bark so that they would have both. And this thing lately has been hanging out in the cork bark, but when I first put it in, I rarely saw it. It was underneath here. So just in case you're wondering why I have two different ones here. Oh, I didn't eat one of the crickets. Oh, brew. My giant dog is sitting in the other room whining because we don't have him in here. So there we go. You're going to want to probably turn the light on when we go in here. So what I'm going to do is just stick this through, try and get him down to the floor. Hopefully he doesn't get all upset. I'm going to use the back of it. I can make the hole big enough. There we go. There we go. There we go. Now, on the ground, all the way. Stubborn little dude. Oh, I tried to strategically put holes in here to make this easier, but obviously that didn't work. There we go. I'm going to get the top of this ready. Here we go. Hanumavilasumica. Whoop. A good shot of it. Yep. Brew, knock it off. So there you go. The dogs are corralled in a kitchen behind a locked door. So anybody hears the sound of the dogs, they are not in the room with us. So there's the Poecilotheria hanumavilasumica, just like saying the name when I get it right. This is one of the most endangered species of pokies I believe that there are out there. I will probably connect this video to the previous video I did. Just a word to kind of piggyback on my other video because I forgot to mention temperatures. I keep these just like I keep everybody else. Low to mid 70s in the wintertime. I do have supplementary heat. And then in the summertime, it's mid 70s to just about 80, sometimes 82 degrees. And I know there's a lot out there about keeping them wet. I really don't worry about keeping them wet. They have water dishes at all times. I will overflow the water dish every once in a while, or I will put some water on the sphagnum, but it dries out in between and they've been fine. They grow like weeds. This little guy here will be eating large crickets later on. I'll be dropping a couple more in. Actually, probably drop the one in that's still in its enclosure there. And just a fantastic species, gorgeous species. Love the coloration of them. So There we go. We're all set.